Raid Shadow Legends video. In today's video, I have a follow-up to my champion guide that I did on Akemtum. I was keeping an eye on Reddit, the Raid Shadow Legends Reddit threads, and I noticed that someone had come up with a very cool use of Akemtum in a solo Dragon 25 team, and I wanted to give it a bit of a highlight because I think it's a pretty cool and clever way of utilizing the passive. Shout out to Dave Serbu, who came up with this concept of having Akemtum as a solo Dragon 25 champion utilizing the passive. We're going to go over what that passive does and how the coding makes this possible. And he built a pretty fast time, 2:29. So what I want to do in this video is actually show it off and show off some of the slight problems and give you kind of how it works. And, you know, if you want to use it, great. Considering it was a guaranteed void epic that can obviously solo Dragon 25, I feel like it is a pretty big thing to look at. How does this actually work? Well, the first thing is he has to be in lifesteal set, not regeneration, which is quite rare for a solo champion. Normally the champion would be in some sort of self-healing or regeneration set, like a guardian or something of that nature. But in lifesteal is we want him in lifesteal because of his passive. His passive will basically activate one poison on all enemies when that enemy takes a poison damage. So that basically gives you a lot of AoE splash damage. Now, we all know you can't heal from poison debuff damage from lifesteal. Lifesteal only works on direct damage. But with this passive, the AoE damage that you deal isn't actually poison damage, it's direct damage, which means that you can activate your lifesteal set. I've picked Heavencast for my Akemtum here because more often than not in other content, I might be using his A1, which is where the poisons land. It is a 50% chance to place a poison, so I would definitely recommend you get Sniper Mastery, because if the poisons don't land, you cannot spread the poisons. If he is attacking a target under Hex, he has a chance to spread the poisons. So not only do you get a lot of single target poisons, you get a lot of AoE poisons. You'll see when we do this run how quickly, if he gets going, he can get all those poisons out to everyone and how much he actually heals. So I've got him in a lifesteal set, a 2-piece stone skin. He's not fully leveled up yet. We've got a lot of stats to be gaining from here. My testing so far, I found it quite inconsistent, so I feel like there is a stat breakpoint that you need to hit in order to make sure that he can stay alive. But we've got about 2,994 defense, 50,000 HP. HP is less important here, I would imagine. Defense, HP, you just find the balance. You don't need the HP for regen. You're dealing sort of healing on direct damage. Now, the good thing to note, you don't need crit rate. This passive cannot crit. So therefore, crit rate is not as important. You're going to be doing most of your healing from this passive and from Giant Slayer. You're not going to be doing it from the damage you actually deal. In terms of then other things here, we've gone for a resistance build. We want to make sure we don't take any debuffs, so 305 resistance, 259 accuracy, and then we're just fast, and we're going to take the masteries that help improve our speed. So at the moment, I'm still farming some masteries on him. I feel like once I get the masteries up for Sniper and for the Spirit Haste, it will be quite good. I don't really think you need Master Hexer. He'll always be able to extend the Hex with his A2, and also he puts so many poisons out, you can just spread them. You don't need to actually extend those poisons. So I feel like Sniper is very much more important, and I would take Spirit Haste for the extra speed. In the offense tree, we have taken the Whirlwind of Death. We're going to be killing enemies, so we'll easily get that. And we're also taking a Giant Slayer, so we've just taken some max HP. There is an argument that you could put Arcane Celerity. I know Dave Serber had this Arcane Celerity, which is probably a good idea. In terms of then the booking, you have to fully book his passive. I would recommend you book all of his abilities just so that you get this Hex on cooldown. You need all of his kit to work. He does bring his own aura for speed, which is excellent for this job. So how is it going to work? So the key thing you need to remember is you have to set an AI, because for some reason he doesn't like using his A2, and with his kit, if you don't have Hex, which is placed from his A2, you cannot debuff spread. The goal is you Hex, then you poison someone, and then the debuff spread on the A1 also then spreads those poisons to everyone else. Okay, so this is not 100% for my testing. It requires the A1 to land the poisons. If you don't get the A1 poisons land and it doesn't debuff spread, then your healing source is not there. So there's a risk that you could fail. I would imagine with a lot of optimization, probably taking my gear up to level 16, getting that Sniper Mastery is going to help a lot. But you can see we've got some poisons out now. We do need to spread a few more to get this going, but hopefully he can get going here. It's starting to run up now. What I'd recommend with the AI tool, you don't really need an extension on the hex. He puts it up for long enough. So I would recommend you open with the A2, but then you don't use that skill so that you've got it for the next wave, and it just prioritizes A1, because the more you can get these poisons spread, the quicker you'll get through the waves. You can see the healing he's got with those poisons out. The amount of debuff spreading he's doing is absolutely insane. It is a very, very good setup. Right, let's hope we get some good RNG here. We got one, but we didn't get it spread. So this might be a risky situation we're in here. This is the start. The start is always difficult until you can get some debuff spreading going on. We've got one poison out. That should help. There we go. Get the healing going on. Once you get 2 or 3 poisons out, the run is guaranteed. But until you can get those early ones, this is why Sniper, I think, is a very important mastery for this build. Just that extra 5% chance would be really helpful. It's quite surprising sometimes that it's a 50-50 chance on 3 hits. You'd expect to get at least 1 or 2 that you actually don't. But once you get a few out, you can see he's dominant. He's not at risk of dying. And it's actually his debuff spreading capability, like I did in my previous guide, is obnoxious. So on the boss, Dragon 25, these are no joke waves, by the way, guys. These are, you know, the end. Dragon waves are probably the easiest waves, but they still hit pretty hard. They don't have as much defense. Now, again, here, it's just a case of trying to get the poisons up. I've disabled his A2 for the boss. You don't need Hex on the boss. It doesn't do anything. You want to prioritize the A1 because the only thing you need here is poisons. So you just have to run the RNG game. You can see he's struggling a little bit to get some poisons. Now here he goes. We're getting some good rolls, triple in a row. It should easily kill the boss here without any pressure. He's going to finish it now. Not at risk of dying on this boss. 2 minutes 49. Now, I've seen 2 minute 29 runs. I'm pretty sure with a bit more optimization and speed, and once he's at like level 60 and everything else, we'll be able to get this down maybe to a 2 minute 20 run. But it's a pretty good, you know, for Dragon 25 farming, it's a Void Epic. It was a guaranteed epic in the last guaranteed Void Epic pool. Actually quite insane. Now, I've tried to see if there's any viability on Ice Golem, and we did get through to the boss on 25. It's quite tricky. Stage 24 and 20 waves are a bit annoying because you've got the penitents on the wave 1, which have that ability to fully cleanse, and then you kind of lose you lose the output, your healing. You need to get the poisons up. Once the poisons are up, you've got your healing and sustain. If the poisons are down, you are going to die. It's just one of those situations. So I found so far in Ice Golem, he can probably get through the wave but the boss is tricky because he doesn't really have any capability of spreading lots of damage. And obviously, it's direct damage, is not poison. So it's going to activate the boss's passive potentially. So the key thing here is, again, we're just running through the wave. Once the poisons are up, we're pretty comfortable. It's only just like that start of the wave that you've got that risk of percentage of dying. If we can get good poisons out at the start of the wave, then we're good to go. So we're at the wave now. We're going to basically run through this. Again, we're trying to get the first poison spread. Now, the risk here is Seeker is going to put increased attack. It's going to make the damage a lot bad. I think this is where I think it's struggling. So I haven't been able to make it work on Ice Golem 25 yet, but then that's not surprising. A lot of people struggle on Ice Golem 25 for soloing, unless you like the Tomb Lord or the Bad L, where you've got more consistent AoE and decreased attack and a bunch of other things. But more testing to be done on Ice Golem 25. Obviously, you can't really solo Fire Knight 25. Nothing can really solo Fire Knight 25. And for Spider, its poisons is not ideal. But if you're in the market for a farmable Dragon 25 champion, he can probably do it. So there you go, guys. That is a quick kind of video to highlight another way you can utilize Akemtum if you did go from as a guaranteed champion as a purely solo Dragon 25 farmer. There's not that many solo Dragon 25 farmers in the game. We're talking Orogrim, Badel, Tomb Lord. I think Gnisha can do it pretty comfortably, but they're all legendary champions mostly. We're talking in terms of the epic pool, Orogrim, we're talking Ornn, and he's actually probably able to do it quicker than both of them, although maybe you need to make sure the build is in place. Let me know in the comments below, guys. Have you thought about using Akemtum in this way? Will you think about using him in this way after this video? I'm going to do some more testing on him. I'll be on stream tonight at 8 p.m. UK time on the YouTube channel, where we might try and see if we can perfect him a little bit further. We'll talk about it. We've also got to do a hell of a lot of free-to-play champion training because that tournament is ending tomorrow. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.